Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD StarCraft and I'm here to bring you guys another match with WhiteRa in StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. And this is going to be WhiteRa, the blue Protoss player, at the 12 o'clock position. This is the map with 2 in-base spawns, so immediately you would expect to see a pretty long macro game, especially considering that we have a cross spawn here, and all the way on the other side of the map we do have the red Zerg player, and he's going by the infamous name Stan. So it's going to be Stan versus WhiteRa, a Zerg versus Protoss. And once again, always overjoyed, always happy to be able to cast a game with WhiteRa. If you guys want to go ahead and check him out on Twitter or Facebook, he is at WhiteRaSC. And he also has a website at white-ra.com. So go ahead and check it out and give him your full support. I don't know too much about Stan, unfortunately. I don't think he really has a website, a Facebook, or a Twitter. I mean, I'm sure he has a Facebook. We could probably look up the name Stan and find a million Stans out there. But I don't know for sure, like, what's this guy's deal, who he is, what's his last name, or anything like that. He's just got a way too common name for me to even decipher who in the world it is, but he is playing against WhiteRa, and because of that, I thought I'd go ahead and cast this game, and Stan already being very pleasant, a little pleasantry. WhiteRa saying no, he doesn't like HOTS, so, you know what, that's interesting. To be honest with you guys, I always want to, you know, present you guys the full truth when possible, and not really smear anything about it. There's a lot of pros out there, and this is the honest truth. There's a lot of pros out there, and even normal casual players like you and I, who so far aren't too thrilled about Heart of the Swarm and the balance, as WhiteRa is just referring to right now. There's not as much balance like in Wings of Liberty or Brood War. And, you know, the thing about that is, yeah, it's not fully fleshed out yet, but partly because, obviously, the game isn't yet out on the shelves. But I think a lot of people in the community are also a little put off by, I guess, the ideas and the implementation of those ideas, like for example the Oracle and the Void Siphon ability. And to be quite frank with you guys, I still haven't found a real solution to that, as not a solution, but a way to really incorporate the Void Siphon and make it work. You know, it seems to be a very hard thing to use. WhiteRa here saying that you know, there's a lot of randomness and luck involved in Heart of the Swarm right now. You know, a lot of people were saying that about Wings of Liberty too, in comparison to Brood War. So, yeah, we'll just have to see. I'm hoping here that Blizzard will kind of hammer things out as they normally do, have things fully fleshed by the time Heart of the Storm is fully released on our nearby GameStop, yeah, or whatever store you guys go get your video games at. Sometimes you buy it online now, I guess, new generation and everything. I'm still kind of old school. I buy my games at the store. I line up like 14 hours outside, pick up my copy of StarCraft 2. I remember the first day when I got my StarCraft 2 copy. I think it was in Sunnyvale. It was a massive line. It wasn't 14 hours, but still pretty nerdy and awesome. And anyways, we do have Stan gets inside with 2 Zerglings, and he is going to get a full scout off inside of WhiteRa's main base. So that's always nice, and you can always, of course, get a gauge on what's going on, especially since this map is so big. Your Overlord Scout is going to take a really long time to get over there. So if you can sneak 2 Zerglings in, you can confirm or deny if the Protoss is going for a Nexus first. And in this situation, it does seem like we have a Nexus first from WhiteRa. Very quick expansion. And it looks like this Zergling will probably get taken out now that the Stalker's on the field. So a good scout so far. But overall, nothing too crazy has been seen. We do, of course, have Cybernetics Core and Gas out here. And, you know, you want to get the Cyber Core and Gas down so you can get the Oracle out, or not the Oracle, but the Mothership Core out on the field. And that Mothership Core is... Wait a minute, I just saw on the production tab, I'm not too sure where it is at currently. Oh, it's actually making its way across the map. And speaking of the Oracle, we do have a Stargate coming out, so... maybe WhiteRa is going to go for some Stargate play after all, which is always fun to see. He is going for a Forge at the same time, and that's pretty typical in Protoss versus Zerg. You eventually do want to get a Forge just because of +1 weapons and its effectiveness against Zerglings without a Carapace upgrade. Zealots go from being able to 2-shot Zerglings to being able to 1-shot them, so, or 3-shot them to 2-shot them, so it's actually quite handy. Now WhiteRa is making his way over here with the Mothership Core, and you know what I've seen from WhiteRa so far is he loves being aggressive with this early M-Core, and I can't fault him for it. It's so fast and speedy, and it can get in there and almost guarantees at least 2 or 3 drone kills. And WhiteRa right now is going for a Fleet Beacon. Are you kidding me? He's making an Oracle while the Stargate isn't making anything else. Obviously, he went for the Stargate to go for a quick Fleet Beacon, and now he's going to pump the Oracle in the downtime, but I wonder if he's going to try to rush Tempests or if he's going to try to rush Carriers. This is insane. And WhiteRa trying to get in here to do some damage, but unfortunately, there are 2 Queens, and the Mothership Core, taking some heavy damage there, is going to have to retreat at 32 HP now. There's a lot of Zerglings making their way across the field for Stan, and it does seem like he is going to go for not only Roach speed, but also Infestation Pit, so we might have Roach Hydra Infester or Roach Hydra Swarm Host, but he will need to get a 3rd quickly if he wants to afford that much units as a Zerg player. Now, the Overseer did get inside for Stan, and he did see the Fleet Beacon and the Stargate, and we can see that he saw the outline of the unit coming out. Now, I believe that most Zerg players can then deduce, obviously, that that is, of course, a carrier coming out. You usually can tell, but I'm kind of looking at the outline right now, and from what he saw last, it kind of looks like a Phoenix, so perhaps WhiteRa maybe just kind of messing around with his opponent. But we do for sure have a carrier on the way right now, and I think our Zerg player can put 2 and 2 together. It's a good idea that he went for Hydralisk Den, because Hydras aren't too shabby with speed against carriers. Now this Oracle has come in and dropped the double Entomb, and while the Queen is working on the Entomb fields, the Mothership Core comes in, and M-Core 1 trying to get a little damage done, but it will be unsuccessful, and we'll have to pull out. But the economic damage is being dealt right here from WhiteRa, and count on the Granddaddy Protoss, the innovator, to really make use of the new units and just experiment and see what is possible out there on the field of play. Now, I gotta say, I like what Stan is doing in response to his scouting. He's got a Hydralisk Den. I don't know too much about the Swarm Host. I don't think he should be making Swarm Hosts right now. As good as they are, when you see a Protoss go air, Swarm Host isn't really the right unit to counter that, because Void Rays, Phoenixes, Carriers, and mostly Tempests do shut down the Swarm Host. Every single air unit, in fact. And I mean, here we go, man. WhiteRa's coming in for the carrier play, and where have we seen this before? Against Avilo in a cast I did a few days ago, and he made that work out pretty well. We'll see how effective this one's going to be. The Oracle still making its way around the back, and we are going to have a 2-pronged attack with an Oracle, a Mothership Core, and a carrier. The most oddest of aggressive air units you would expect from a Protoss player at 10 minutes in, but there you have it. WhiteRa controlling these units like a puppet master controlling his puppets, and we'll see if he can do anything with this. The Mothership Core is coming in, but there are Hydras in the back, and that carrier is actually doing a good bit of damage. We'll kill off the Queen, and then we have the M-Core recalling everything back home, and it looks like it recalled it back to this Nexus. Now, remember, that is how the Mothership Core now works. It can target a nearby, not a nearby, it can target any Nexus on the map, and once you cast Mothership Recall, it brings all of the units around the Mothership Core back to the selected Nexus. So that's what WhiteRa just did, and that was a good decision, because he could have stayed around. I think he could have eked out a little bit more damage, but when you're facing off against Zerg and you already see Hydras on the field, you never know when a bunch of Hydras might spawn out, and that can be problematic. So he didn't want to take his chances. I guess he could have stayed a little bit longer, but WhiteRa playing more safe rather than sorry. And that's a bit of a paradigm. WhiteRa now has 3 carriers out on the map. This is really weird. You don't expect this every day. And to counter this, Stan is going to need to get Hydra speed. He has Groove Spines on the way right now, and he's got a Hive coming. And you will need the Hive to finish the Muscular Augments. That is Hydralisk speed. If he plans to use plainly Hydras against carriers. Otherwise, he'll need Corruptors. And it looks like he's going for a combination of both Hydras and Corruptors. Very interesting. We have Zerglings trying to go for a run-by, but a great block right there with that Zealot holding the front doors. The hot gates have been held, and you shall not pass, says the Zealot to the Zerglings, and these guys are going to have to run away. Meanwhile, this Oracle is still kind of chilling in the back here. Haven't really seen it use Entomb. I think WhiteRa's just kind of left it there, and he might have forgotten about it, but he can always bring it in later on and drop a couple of Entomb fields, which is always so annoying to the Zerg player. Current income at 77 and 70, so it's a very close macro game right now with 3 bases to 3 bases. And I think WhiteRa might be just slowly holding on to a slight lead. He just dropped another Entomb field down, and you guys can see how that devastates the Zerg economy. Not too much, actually, because the Zerg is on 4 bases now. And a lot of Hydras coming in here. That is going to clean up the Entomb fields. At the very least, though, WhiteRa does get vision when Entomb is down, and he can see the Hydralisks. At least I believe he can. I'm pretty sure you can as Protoss. And so he gets a good scout at either rate, and he sees the mass Hydra composition. And will WhiteRa switch into Colossus to combat that? It does look like we have a robotics bay on the way. Robotics facility, excuse me. So I think he is going to go for Colossus here. And if he is going to go for Colossus, that's, like I said, a good option, but he has to also mind the Corruptors that are going to be out on the field. We have a very interesting composition from Stan. It's Hydra, Swarm Host, Corruptor, but his upgrades are very shabby indeed. In fact, he just now started the 1-1-1, and WhiteRa's already sitting at 1 weapons, getting 2 weapons, and his air is at 2 weapons. So WhiteRa's upgrades are far more well-rounded than his Zerg opponent. And we do have the 4th base coming here for WhiteRa. Actually ends up killing off his own destructible debris. That's a head scratcher. I wonder why WhiteRa decided to do that. Usually you don't want to kill that off. You actually want to build a Nexus there, but it doesn't matter. He has more than enough firepower to take this out. He might have actually killed it because he didn't want it to be a liability should it fall down and destroy his Nexus, but it only does 500 damage, so it's not like the end of the world. And we do have Zerg now approaching a 5th base on Hive Tech at the moment. Does he have Hydralisk speed? Crucial upgrade. Doesn't have it researching yet, so that's a bit of a shame. He should actually get that as soon as Hive finishes, but it looks like he's focusing his efforts here. I mean, he's making a lot of Hydras, so there's absolutely no reason right now why Stan shouldn't get Hydralisk speed. He's probably just forgotten it at this moment in time. And as far as WhiteRa goes, I'd love to see a mothership now. At this point, he's already got the fleet beacon on the field. You know, why not make a mothership? It's a great supplemental unit to your army. Unless he wants to keep the ability to recall his army away, which is actually not a bad ability. When you upgrade the mothership core to the mothership, you lose the ability to recall an army to a Nexus. You actually gain the ability to recall an army to the mothership. So it kind of reverses the role of it, and actually a lot of Protoss players feel like it's almost better to have the ability to escape at any point in time. So we'll see what happens here. Of course, you forfeit the Cloak and the Vortex, which are both great abilities. And a lot of Tempests and Carriers here for WhiteRa, who's, you know, you got to give him credit. He's utilizing units that you typically don't see Protoss do. And he, remember, crushed a Velo with Carriers in prior cast I did. That was a Protoss versus Terran. We'll see if he can go ahead and beat Stan here with the similar comp, but we have a lot of Spore Crawlers coming. Wow, that's going to make it very hard for WhiteRa to bust through. A couple of Zealots trying to sneak by and be as incognito as possible, but unfortunately they were sniffed out very quickly by the Zerg army. And, you know, Stan, I gotta say, he has a pretty scary army himself. Let's just look at the unit stab here. 7 Swarm Hosts, 8 Corruptors, and 31 Hydralisks. So this army, well built to combat Protoss air. I mean, that's a lot of ways to dismantle a Protoss air army, but WhiteRa isn't fully air right now. He does have some ground underneath, and it's hard to see because of the Carriers overhead and how fat they are, but WhiteRa does have some Stalkers with Blink, and he has some Zealots as well. And he is getting Templar Archives, so he will have Templars on the way soon enough. And so we'll see, man. This is going to be really interesting. And if they engage right now, Stan will have a disadvantage because he only has 1-1, whereas WhiteRa has significant upgrade advantages across the board. But still, a very passive game. Neither player wanting to send it in yet. We do have a mothership on the way right now from Mr. Grand Prop Protoss, so he decides to forfeit the recall ability for the new recall, or the other recall, and gain Vortex Cloak as well. And not a bad decision, I'd say, overall. Especially if he can mix in some Archons, which is why I think he went for the Templar Archives. One Zealot gonna go down here and check for a hatchery. We do have a hatchery here, and the Zealots saw it, but there's no mining going on. And at this moment, usually Zerg players don't care too much about money. They just want to start stockpiling on gas. So that's why we can see double extractor on the way. Couple of Swarm Hosts burrowed over here at this Nexus, and that Zealot, oh, gets the kill along with the cannon's help. And there is still one Swarmhost hiding back here. It is not in range of detection yet, just barely. And it looks like the Zealot finally does die to the Swarmhost Locust. So we do have a little bit of aggression coming out from Stan. It does look like HDreplays is setting up to be making a move over here at this hatchery, but there's a Swarmhost there, and that will shut down this pylon very easily. Rather, the Hydras will take out that pylon very easily. And right now, HDreplays needs an obs over here to deal with the Swarmhost. If he doesn't send something, eventually, I mean, by the law of continuous respawn of units, this Swarmhost will kill off this Nexus. Well, actually, that's a lot of cannons. Maybe the Locust will die before they do any damage, but it was good right there that HDreplays sent in the Oracle, and he actually used Revelation. So in place of an Observer, you guys can see he does have 2 on the field regardless, but in place of using an Observer, he used the Revelation ability on the Oracle, which reveals units in the area for 45 seconds. So if we look at HDreplays' vision, he should still have Revelation. No, he doesn't. Okay. Not too sure why. But I believe he did use Revelation to see those invisible swarm hosts. And right now we have a lot of upgrades coming. Finally, Hydra speed for Stan. I was wondering when he was going to get that upgrade. I was getting really nervous. And he's got Overlord drop as well. He's got Neuroparasite coming, Flyer attacks level 3. So these Corruptors are going to hit like a truck. This is kind of interesting. Stan is going to go for a big drop here, but he's got to be careful, man. I don't know if dropping is the best idea because you could get Vortex. You're going to lose. The loaded Overlords are in the front. That's one of the biggest mistakes. You got to put the loaded Overlords in the back, and he runs into the Protoss army, and he is going to take a huge hit here. Not even fair. HDreplays is going to crush that with all of his Protoss firepower combined. Oh my god, it was a demolishment of the Zerg player there. And just a really bad move of troops by Stan, who does have more Swarm Hosts set up to attack this Nexus, but HDreplays is moving and on the hunt. Gonna try to take out this hatchery, will take out this hatchery, no problem. And Stan has to pull away, now making 20 Corruptors, so he really wants to just use primarily Corruptors to take out this army. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's a good choice, but HDreplays got a Vortex, and he's got Archons, so, and he's got Storm, so Stan will have to be very meticulous about not letting his Corruptors stack up, letting them take AoE fire from the Storm, from the Archons, and not letting them get Vortex. And this is going to be a micro maneuver here from Stan, who actually has a lot of Crawlers. It'll let him buy some time. Don't forget the Spores on the left too. Now he's going to come in. That is a big army of +2/3 Corruptors, taking out these Tempests oh so quickly. And even using Corruption, now we have feedback going off on the Infestors, so they won't be able to neural quite as well. It looks like the Mothership has already died, or no, it's hanging in the back. We do have a potential Vortex coming as HDreplays is bringing the Mothership in. His carriers are going down though, and the Mothership goes before it can use a Vortex. Beautiful plays by Stan, who at the same time is attacking this Nexus, but HDreplays got a lot of cannons there, so he can buy quite a bit of time, doesn't have to worry too much about that, but a huge victory, I think, right there for Stan the man, the Zerg player, who just did an incredible job of countering that army. And I think HDreplays just a little too bold, a little too adventurous, going into a crawler wall. I don't know if that was the best idea, and the Corruptors just got the best positioning possible. Plus, the Mothership was nowhere to be seen until the very end. And in that case, better late than never doesn't necessarily apply. And Stan now is going to clean up more Protoss forces, although HDreplays is doing a decent job killing off drones here. Has killed off 17 already, in fact. Not bad by HDreplays. 50 to 74 right now, but the Zerg army still maintains its absolute dominance, and HDreplays hasn't done a good enough job of killing off the Zerg, which means we have a potential counterattack on the way while HDreplays is trying to secure this expansion just a few clicks north of a Zerg hatchery. This is going to be a lot of skirmish battles happening all over the map in the meantime, as a few Zealots find themselves caught amongst a horde of Zerglings. 5 more Zealots here are going to get just completely banged on all sides against this wall. No hope for them. And HDreplays is just bleeding units now. He's bleeding away Protoss forces, and as Protoss, you cannot afford to do that. But then again, I'm looking at the top right, and somehow HDreplays has got 2,700 and 700 banked. So HDreplays can continue to fund the war here for a pretty long time, whereas Stan has taken damage to all of his hatcheries that were fresh mining hatches, and he's still potentially going to lose another hatchery right here. So he cannot allow this hatchery to go down to a rando DT. Gonna have to get detection over there immediately. At the very least, Stan is gonna take out one of HDreplays' Nexi here, as HDreplays warps in a couple of DTs, but it is a little too late. However, those DTs can go down bottom right, and as I said before, a few clicks to the south, we have a hatchery there ripe for the pickin', and HDreplays kills off another hatchery. We can see Stan, he's not mining anything. He's stuck at basically sub 100 minerals. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is. He's trying to distance mine everything to this location, but what he needs to do is send all of his drones here. There is still a hatchery with minerals to be mined. I don't know why these drones are all distance mining. It looks like they're all gonna go over here, and now Stan is changing his mind. Okay, I see what he was doing there. He's gonna try to spread them out, get some drones here, and get some drones back here, but that was a lot of time lost where HDreplays was making money and Stan was not. And, you know, making money is part of StarCraft. You don't make money, you don't win. So at this point, you know, even though Stan did a good job in those last big battles, HDreplays, by just purely economic means of attrition, war of attrition through economy, he is basically back on top in this game, and he's threatening to take out another hatchery here of Stan. Stan's got a lot of Zerglings though, and these Zerglings without a crack upgrade, but it matters not, although those Zealots are holding steadfast right here at the wall, and we saw this before at HDreplays' main base, but it looks like eventually those Zealots are going to go down. Meanwhile, a ton of Zealots warping here, 2-3 Zealots. Interesting to note that they do not have an armor upgrade, just shields. But HDreplays is going to try to go in here with all of these Zealots. Zerglings do have 3-3, but they don't need to fight when the Brood Lords are here, and so HDreplays will lose his Zealot army. Meantime, in the middle of the map, what is going on? HDreplays trying to capture another expansion, has photon cannons littering throughout the map. It looks like one of the hatcheries down here did go down. Oh, it must have went down to a DT snipe. This hatchery still is down, and a bunch of drones aren't even mining at this moment in time. So HDreplays is just harassing all over the place with clever DT placement, methodically, surgically ripping out the Zerg infrastructure from beneath his legs, and Stan is just struggling to maintain any means of income to make a living here, and he could potentially lose his hatchery as well. He has an overseer here, but his forces are all the way on the left side of the map. At least some of them are. He needs to actually send those down here, but there are a lot of Zealots that just warped in. HDreplays saw it with the pylon, and those Zealots should be able to hold their own against the Zerglings without adrenal glands. Meanwhile, the DTs gonna take out another hatchery here. If Stan is not quick enough, oh, the hatchery is going to live! Unbelievable, unreal. Stan keeps it alive with 10 HP left. It was just one slice away from falling down. That hatchery needs to file its Medicare and health insurance immediately, because you know what, no health insurance company is going to insure that hatchery anytime soon. In fact, it'll probably die if HDreplays just sends in like a Zealot right now and just charges in there and takes it out so easily, so quickly. And we have a couple more Zealots just making their way on the ground, taking out Creep Tumors, so just continuing to rip out, like I said before, the Zerg infrastructure. And HDreplays slowly but surely taking control and dominating in all phases of this game. Stan still has a lot of Corruptors and Brood Lords, but is it enough? Is it enough? There's a new Protoss Death Ball on the field, a new mothership. This time everything is at 3-3-3 except the ground armor, but I mean that's pretty negligible at this point. And if Stan cannot make a hold right here at this hatchery, which, like I said before, there's no insurance company would ever do any policy for this hatchery whatsoever. They would have to be suicidal. Unless, of course, we're talking about universal healthcare, but I'm an American, so what do I know about that? But HDreplays is going to go in here, and, you know, looking pretty good. Good fungal. catching some of the Protoss units and the interceptors, but Stan will have to be very, I don't know, he'll have to be very frugal with his fungals, because he doesn't have that many infestors, and he just shot another fungal out. I don't know, maybe he should be using Neural instead, hoping to Neural the mothership. That actually might be his only chance right now to win this game, and now we have the classic, I don't know what to do as a Zerg player, so I'm going to poop out some changelings maneuver from Stan. And now Stan, will he be able to kill? He kills the mothership, but he loses a lot of corruptors. And the mothership right there basically just serving as a huge meat tank. While it did die, a lot of corruptors fell as well. So now Stan lacks the necessary anti-air to take out this many carriers. Very good fungals though. And now trying to use up all the infestor energy before the Templar can feedback. So not a bad job by Stan in this last battle here. But does he have enough? He's just so dry on money. He's completely running on fumes right now. I don't think he can manage this at this point. Oh, he's losing reinforcing units as well, and that doesn't bode well for him. And this hatchery, I think it is going to go down, or we'll probably just see Stan GG at this point. He just doesn't have enough anti-air to deal with this many interceptors, and in fact, how many do we have? 56 on the field. GG, well played, calls Stan, and WhiteRa finishes the hatchery, so he gets what he wanted and leaves the game. That's all he really cared about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Once again, a great game by WhiteRa. Just showing him using some cool new units and abilities, and not a bad job by Stan. Almost made a fight out of it. In fact, it was a fight the whole way through until WhiteRa just started going into beast mode and harassing all over the place, sending DTs everywhere, sending zealots everywhere, and that's very hard for a Zerg player to stop. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, once again, check out WhiteRa at WhiteRaSC on Facebook and Twitter, and you guys can find him at white-ra.com, and you guys can, of course, find myself at youtube.com/HDStarcraft, as well as Facebook and Twitter. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next cast. Happy weekend, guys. HD signing out.